Hello and welcome to Tapping Tuesday. This is Dawn, your go-to EFT tapping practitioner. And today for Tapping Tuesday, I thought we would talk a little bit about why tapping works and how it works. Many times I just kind of launch right into the tapping down. But it is also important to understand the why and the how tapping works so that, it can just further deepen your practice with tapping. And also, I have a special invitation for you guys if you are in the Los Angeles or near the Los Angeles area. I am doing my first in-person class of 2023 at Sadhana Health on Ocean Park Boulevard in Santa Monica. And that's Saturday, March 11th from 2 to 3:30, and it's $50 a ticket. We're going to be focusing on tapping for reducing and managing chronic pain, whether it's chronic or acute. Pain is pain, right? So we'll be focusing on emotional and physical pain, and obviously the two are correlated. Can't have one without the other. Everything, mind, body is intertwined, and so tapping. So tapping uses the same concept as acupuncture. The Chinese, health system believes that we have meridian points that run through our body that carry the energy or the electricity through our body. So, for example, if you've ever gone to acupuncture, they put these little tiny, tiny needles into different meridian points in your body to stimulate the chi or the energy and the body's natural healing systems into place. So it helps to stimulate that meridian system to bring attention to that part of the meridian that it's trying to heal. And not always, say, for example, maybe your back hurts, but they might put a needle in your finger or in your wrist for your back because the meridian points, my understanding, I'm not a doctor, is they cross over the body. And therefore, that's why when you're tapping, I say that you can tap with your left or your right hand, or you can use both because the meridian points cross over the body. And so even though you may be working on your back, in acupuncture, they may put something in your wrist or in your neck for your back because it all is connected and there's different energy meridians that go to different parts of your body. So in Gary Craig's basic EFT recipe, which is what I use with my clients and other modalities, is he really brought it tapping to the forefront by bringing it to the layperson and practitioners by using these 10 major overhaul for the whole system. So even though you may be working on a certain aspect of your emotional system or your physical system, you're still tapping on these 10 points because that is like a major overhaul. Since, we're not Chinese practitioners, the common person isn't aware of which endpoints correspond to which organs or which part of the body. So Gary Craig really made it accessible to everyone by really narrowing it down to these 10 points. So that's why when we tap, we always start with the setup statement, either on the tender spots or the karate chop point. I tend to do the karate chop point. And then we do the rounds of the 10 points. So that's why that's important. So we all have these meridian channels that run through our body. So when we're tapping, we're just tapping again lightly with our fingertips, and we're tapping on these specific 10 and meridian points. And what that's doing is that's also similar with acupuncture, stimulating those meridian points to, first of all, one thing it's doing is it's sending a signal to the amygdala in the brain. And the amygdala in the brain is the part of your brain that houses that fight, flight, or freeze response. So, especially if you're feeling any amped up, feelings of stress or anxiety or PTSD, or perhaps your blood pressure is elevated, by tapping on these points, it's sending that direct signal to the amygdala saying, hey, there's not a tiger right in front of us, even though it feels like it is, because your body is still having that same chemical and survival response as if you were in front of that tiger, right? So if you have perhaps PTSD symptoms of, a trauma, or, if you're a vet, that's actually how Gary Craig really brought it to the forefront. Is he did a study with veterans with PTSD, and he worked with them very intimately for about 6 weeks. And what he found was that it was able to help them reduce their PTSD symptoms. They were integrating back into life. Their anxiety and their stress went down. They were able to sleep better and have reduced symptoms. Some, even went away, almost completely. So it can be very effective. But, the important thing is just to start. So that's one of the ways that it works, is that it sends that signal to the amygdala in the brain. And then secondly, it helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the system that you want to activate to get you out of the fight, flight, freeze response and back into that homeostasis system where you're more at ease. And interestingly, once I actually had a knee surgery, that my body, after the knee surgery, and this was before I knew about hypnosis and tapping, my body went haywire. It did not like that surgery. And I ended up with an elevated heart rate. And so I was in the cardiac unit for a few days after my surgery and they explained this to me, the doctors. They said, well, basically what happened is that your parasympathetic nervous system didn't kick in until a few days later. So it's very interesting what the body can do. However, it's also very interesting what we can do to help our body get into that sympathetic, calm, and relaxed state. That's where we want to be. That fight, flight, freeze response, that's there for the survival area of the mind, for your your natural instincts and your survival mechanism, but it's not meant to be how we feel every day of our lives. And for many people, it is that high state of stress and running, constantly doing. So focusing more on being and focusing more on being present. Unfortunately, many of us ruminate about the past, we worry about the future, and really, I can't remember who said this, but worry time is wasted time, basically. And so, and I know many of us want to control the situation. We want to control what's going on around us because that gives us more comfort and support. But really, we don't have control. We don't have control over what happened 5 minutes ago, and we don't have control what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. Doesn't mean you can't plan, and doesn't mean you can't be, prepared for things, and to be in the present moment. But so that's two of the ways that EFT tapping can help. But again, the important thing is to do it. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of that background. And, there's many other reasons how tapping works. But really, the basics of it is just do it. It's a very forgiving process. If you're not sure where the tapping points are, I have a video where the tapping points are, and I'll go over them real quick. So again, you're just lightly tapping with your fingertips, hard enough that you're going to, feel it, but not hard enough you're going to give yourself a bruise. So the first point is just on the inside of the eyebrows here, just where you feel like the end of the hair meeting kind of the bridge of the nose. And then follow that out just to the side of the eye here, just on the eye bone. Not back by the temple, but up here by the eye bone. And then the next point is just straight under the eye, kind of where the little fleshy area is, again, where you feel the eye bone. That's the under eye point. And then under the nose, just straight between the end of the nose and the top of the lip. Just in the middle there. Or some people go like this if you want. Or you can tap like that. And then the chin point, so it's halfway between the end of the lip and the end of the chin. So for most people, it's kind of where this crevice comes into your chin. So again, you can tap like that, or you can tap with the side of your fingers. And then the next point is the collarbone. So you kind of have this little area between the collarbones where there's that little space. So it's right at the end where you feel the collarbone, just a tiny bit under. But I just take the whole hand and get both sides at the same time. I think that's easier. And then under the arm, it's a hand's width down on the side of the arm, side of the body from the armpit, hands width down from your armpit. So for women, it's about where your bra strap comes, and for men, it's kind of where the top of the ribs are. And then the under the chest point, so if you were to draw a line down the middle of your nipples to the outside, about 1/2 inch. So for women, it's about where the crease of your breast comes in, and for men, it's just kind of under the pec area. And then the wrist point, so you have one in the middle of your wrist and one on either side right here. So you can kind of tap around like that, or you can bump both your wrists together and rotate your wrists. And then the last point is just straight on the top of the head. So we've got inside of the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, chin point, collarbone, under the arm on the side, under the chest, wrist points, and top of the head. And when you're tapping on your own, you don't have to do it in any specific order. If you miss a point, you can go back to it. Again, tapping is a very forgiving process. The really important thing is just to do it. So I hope that was really helpful, a little bit of the background about tapping, because each week I just kind of launch into the tapping demos. And I hope to see you at the event on March 11th from 2 to 3:30 here in Santa Monica, California. And have a beautiful rest of your day. And please feel free to DM me or drop a message in the comments with any questions. Have a good day. Bye.